Mothers are so lovely, wonderful. Life is, what is life without a mother? That might be a little insensitive. There are people without mothers, but
Yes, there are. Basically, he's saying that I worry too much about
uh,
him.
well, no, that's just a normal thing.
I am supposed to worry about you. If I didn't worry about you, you would be like, well, you just don't care.
Yeah, no, yeah, you should worry.
I worry
I'm
too
not
much.
saying you should be
So,
worried. I'm
so
just
for
saying,
those of you who don't know where we're going with this conversation is that right before we started recording, I was like, my chest hurts. And he goes, why? And I said, because you stress me out. He goes, why do I stress you out? I said, I worry about you. And he's like, I'm fine. That's a child's answer to everything. I'm fine. And I said, his eyes tell a different story.
I'll tell you what it is. So, Grandma gave me a scratch off last night because she didn't want to do it. I guess it's a crossword or whatever. And I was planning my future of what I was going to do with the $2 million. I was thinking about everything I was going to do with it. And I just did it a couple hours ago. And, yeah, I didn't win. So it's a little saddening.
You only won $10.
Well, yeah, not even from the game either. It was like a bonus thing.
Okay.
And it said $10. But I just gave it to Grandma and said, just get another ticket. It's fine.
You're disappointed you didn't win the lottery off of a scratch off?
Yeah. I was so close. Like, if I had just had two, because it's like a crossword, it gives you like 20 letters.
Yeah.
You mark out whatever letters you have. All I needed was an E and a T. If I would have had an E and a T, I would have won like $10,000.
Oh, it's always when you come so close.
I know.
Don't worry. I was like a number off. I could have won like three or four prizes on my scratch off yesterday.
But she did actually. She won $200 yesterday.
I won $200. Yeah.
Scratch off.
I know. I've never won even that amount on any scratch off ticket ever.
Yeah.
Ever. So, and I'm 47. Yeah. And I've played sporadically scratch offs like over the years. It's not something I play all the time. I don't.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing, I can see how that can be like really addictive.
Absolutely.
It's gambling.
Yeah.
Because oh man, yeah. I see. I'm sure there's a ton of people that just play scratch offs constantly every day, like just hoping to win something. It's addictive, and it's relatively it's inexpensive, So you could just go to the gas station, grab some tickets, and then you just keep doing it over and over again, hoping to win something.
Yeah. They have dollar scratch offs. They have I think like the scratch off I got was like a $20 scratch off. They have $50 scratch offs and $30 scratch offs. I'm not going to pay $50 for a scratch off. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Or even 30. 20 is enough. But that's like few and far between. But they have $5 scratch offs, $3 or something like that. But when you win, even your money back, you go and you buy another scratch off ticket. There are people, yes, they have addictions to it. It's gambling. It's a form of gambling.
Yeah, it is.
But I try not to do it. It's like few and far between while I buy a lotto ticket. I don't buy them every week.
Yeah.
So I have been behind people in line in convenience stores that will buy lotto tickets and stand there off to the side and scratch off their lotto tickets. And if they win, they just cash them right back in.
Yeah.
But
that's like a normal thing to do.
No, it's not.
Yeah, to just do it because you're right there. Like, I might as well just scratch it off right here, and then so I can get the money right now. That just makes sense. That's just efficient. That's just efficient.
Well,
that's just efficient gambling.
Well, that's a younger perspective.
No, that's what it is.
No,
though.
But that's not a healthy perspective.
Well, no, not obviously not if you're always doing it. No, I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with doing that. But if you're doing it all the time, every day, of course that's a problem.
But there are some people who will buy their tickets. I have seen other people who will buy their tickets and they will go out to their car, and they will scratch them off in their car. And then if they win, they'll go back in and cash them in. But I have actually seen people that may have a line behind them, and they scratch off their tickets, and they'll hold up a line. Or I've seen people
like standing up at the counter.
Yes,
doing
they'll
it?
stand up at the counter and do them. They're not like, that's because
Well, that's just uncourteous.
Well, it's uncourteous, and it's a signal that there's a problem, that you have a problem.
I don't think that's always true. I don't think that's necessarily true in that instant.
Yeah. Well,
but if you're always doing that, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you're like buying multiple tickets and scratching them off up there, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's not just one ticket.
Yeah,
they have more than that. I mean, people will blow hundreds of dollars on scratch off tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I work in a field where people primarily are coming in for substance abuse treatment, but we will also get into the habit of asking them, or we're asking if there's any other addictive or compulsive behaviors that they have. And gambling is one of the categories we ask them. And some people are like, well, when people think of gambling, they're thinking of casinos, right? They're thinking of like, I go play blackjack, the slots or whatever, and they don't think of lotto tickets as a form of gambling.
That's exactly what it is. It's gambling.
Well, yes, it is, but they don't think of lottery tickets or playing lotto, you know. But they always talk about they have now where they put mini slot machines in some convenience stores.
Are you serious?
Where you can actually go in and sit down and play a mini slot machine.
Have you seen that?
They actually have them in Springfield, Missouri. There was a convenience store where you can go in and sit down and play a little mini slot machine. It wasn't like you would see in a casino, but it was like, you would hit like a little pad or whatever, machine, and it's a slot machine.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they actually have them. I don't know. I think there may be some in Florida. I don't know where exactly, because I think they have them in Illinois, and I know that they have them in Missouri. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Where there's certain convenience stores you can go into, and people said that they would go in there and they picked up that behavior. It became compulsive. And they would go in there and they would go and, get their cigarettes and then,
Yeah. Well, it's easier.
I have heard that. And I saw one in Springfield. Yeah.
I've never seen that. Not that I remember, but.
I mean, yeah.
It's easier to do that than go all the way to a casino, I guess.
But it's a casino.
And have to dress up and whatever.
It's a mini casino in a convenience store.
Yeah.
But I saw one in Springfield. I remember it was probably one of the first. Now I don't know if it was the first one, but it was the first convenience store that I saw that had a slot machine in there.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. So I can come in here and buy like cigarettes, and I don't even have to. I could probably get a scratch off, but then I could, if I got some spare change or a quarter, I can just throw it in there and
hit the slot machine.
Hit the slots. And if I win on the first time, that's going to pull me in, Yeah.
So,
especially if people already have some sort of addictive behavior, they're going to, that's going to entice them to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I only play lotto every once in a while because I do have an addictive personality, so I have to be careful.
I wonder how much money that industry makes. Like, who makes the scratch offs? Like,
Oh my
like, how
gosh.
is that all connected? Is it just this? Like, where is that? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Well, the states.
Is it just like the government? Like, who runs that business?
I don't know. I mean, every state has like a lottery thing. I'm sure that of course the government gets.
Yeah, but I
states
want to
get
know,
a
like,
lot of the money, and then I mean,
who is getting the money? Like when they
win.
I mean, like when they sell all these tickets to whatever stores or whatever. Like, who's that money?
I'm sure the money goes to the state. I'm sure.
Mm.
I'm sure.
Well, I'm sure they make a
I'm
killing.
sure that all these other taxes, like if you pay on something and it says other tax, that could be a lotto tax. Who knows?
Yeah.
Is going into it. Who knows? Because we'll be taxed for something and it just says other tax. Well, what is that tax?
Yeah, I don't
you know, that's probably the lottery tax. I
be.
don't know.
Could be.
I don't know. It's going towards something.
Maybe is that what some of our taxes? I mean, because in Florida we don't have a state tax.
We don't have a state tax, no. But I mean, like in Missouri,
Yeah.
I don't know.
But where does the money come from? I don't know.
I don't know where it comes
Is
from.
it just tax money? Like, I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from, but I have no idea.
If you won the lottery, would you pay extra to hide your identity? Because they do that. Like, they pretty much make you hide your, or not. They make you publicly
say who won.
announce
Yeah.
it, and then but you can pay extra to hide your identity. Isn't that crazy?
So I have to pay, but say I don't want people to know that I
think
won.
I think that's how they do it. Isn't that crazy?
So and it's their greed because they want more. They don't want to pay out as much. It's just preventing them from paying out as much.
Yeah, but that seems like extortion.
Seems like blackmail. Like, hey, you have to pay us if you don't want us to tell you.
Yeah,
extorting.
Just announcing it, having your face
Extorting.
on TV, holding a check with $100 million. People are gonna look for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I mean, people will know because you're plastered all over the news, and people will be like, hey, if they see you out, they'll be like, hey.
exactly. You have to
know.
you have to move.
Yeah. You would have to move. I
have seen some people though. I saw one guy, I think, wore a mask or something when he was accepting the check.
Yeah, so people couldn't recognize his face. I don't know. I might pay extra just to hide my identity. Yeah,
I probably would.
Yeah, I wouldn't want people to know.
Yeah,
people are crazy now. They'll follow you and rob you for less than that.
For sure. We'll rob you for $5.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would want people to know.
Yeah,
that I had won whatever jackpot. I mean, I wouldn't. I'd be like, yeah, go ahead, take whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I won $500 million. I'm like, I don't care what you take. I'm still gonna have money.
Exactly.
Yeah, just go ahead.
You're
and
still
take
set
it.
for life.
Just take what you need to. I just don't want people to know.
Yeah.
Who I am. Probably end up moving anyway if I won that much money.
Yeah.
So I live in Florida, but I wouldn't be where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, of course I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy last night that I won. Everybody thought I was full of crap. They're like, what? No, you didn't. You didn't win any money.
And see, that's what made me think that I was going to win the $2 million. I was like, "Ooh, she won. Maybe these are lucky tickets. She won a 200. I'm going to get the $2 million." I actually thought that I might win because of that.
Oh, honey,
it really gave me hope.
Oh, well, you should have hope in life anyway.
I know. I'm just meaning that for that, ticket really gave me hope.
You saw how excited I was to win $200.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Because I never win anything.
Yeah.
I don't care if I had won just my money back. I was happy with that. I broke even.
Yeah.
Cool. I've done that many times off of a ticket, but I've never won more. I was like, wow, awesome. And around Christmas,
yeah, it's perfect timing.
thank you. There goes my Christmas shopping for stocking stuffers and whatever else I'm going to get, you know. And that helps me out, especially with getting paid this week before Christmas. Can't beat that,
No,
you know.
can't.
So that's awesome. So yeah. So well, don't be disheartened, honey. It's okay.
I guess.
You were like, I was 2 away.
Yeah, I just needed two letters. I just needed.
Sweetheart.
If I would have had an E instead of an H, I would have won a bunch of money. But
There's always what ifs.
I know.
There's always what ifs. What if I did? What if? But it's just, you never know.
Yeah.
So just keep the faith, honey.
Yeah. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time.
We'll see.
So speaking of addictive behaviors
Mm-hmm.
and addictive things, I'm going to take this first part of our podcast, our first segment, and I want to do a little bit of an educational thing. So it may be something new I'm going to be starting outside of our regularly scheduled podcast. That I've been thinking about doing, but I haven't kind of come up with the name for it yet. Where I'm talking about specific addictions and just living like a healthier lifestyle, being that I provide counseling and group therapy for a living, being a an addiction counselor. So since our podcast is really more or less focused on a lot of different topics, but I do want to have something where I'm kind of doing it off to the side as well.
Yeah.
And just making it a little bit more condensed and just solely focused on that. So that may be coming where I'm doing it like on Mondays and posting it, and maybe posting it to the website. And uploading it to YouTube or something like that. So that's, I'm just working on that. But for today, I thought I would kind of get it rolling with discussing what Kratom is. So Kratom is something that in my field has come up a lot recently. And I used to work for in a treatment center that worked like specifically with opioid use disorder. And this was probably about we were in Springfield. This was probably, I don't know, 7 years ago maybe or so. And I remember somebody had mentioned this was probably the first time I had ever heard about Kratom. It was probably about 7 years ago, maybe. And I was like, what is it? I had never heard of it before, but they had mentioned using it in place of opioids.
Yeah.
Because I was working in a treatment center that dealt with utilizing methadone and Suboxone to help people get off of heroin and prescription painkillers.
Yeah.
To help them, assist them with the withdrawal symptoms. And so I had spoken with someone at that time, and they had mentioned Kratom and that people were using it as an alternative.
Yeah.
For that, to kind of help them. And so I knew nothing about it. So I'm just going to go into kind of like if people who don't know out there that are listening, just kind of basically what Kratom is. You probably know, you have done some research.
I have.
Tristan has done a lot of research. He likes
extensive research.
Pharmacology. He probably should have gone into pharmacology.
That's what I wanted to do originally.
A long time ago. You should have went to college for this. So I'm sure that I'm going to mispronounce some words. And I'm sure that Tristan will correct me.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, so I'm gonna read at you, okay for a little bit. Okay, so this is just an introduction. So is it Kratom or Kratom? There's several ways you can pronounce it, I believe.
I think in Asia they say Kratom.
But we are in America, so we're going to say Kratom.
Yeah, just say Kratom.
So basically a little background. So what is Kratom? Okay. It says the term Kratom is basically, I'm going to start from the top. So Kratom is a type of tree in the coffee family found in Southeast Asia. Am I correct so far?
Yeah.
Okay. It is native to Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia, Myanmar, and Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea.
Papua.
Papua.
Is that what it is? Papua?
I don't know.
Oh.
I think so.
New Guinea, where it has been used in traditional medicine since the 19th century. And its leaves contain compounds that have psychotropic or mind-altering effects, ranging from being stimulant to sedative.
Mm-hmm.
And based on research, negative side effects are possible when it is used.
Mm-hmm.
And the purpose of this, what we're going to go through is just to kind of give everybody general facts, what it's used for, other commercial names for it. So if people hear, because everybody may not hear kratom, and it may have other names.
Yeah.
Okay. So like it said, it's from Southeast Asia. A lot of people may not know where kratom comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or what it looks like. So I think it's going to talk about when it's dried. The kratom leaves are typically sold in the form of green powder. The dried leaves are also used to make tablets, capsules, extracts, and gum. And these are sold commercially under the name kratom.
Yeah.
Correct. So you can have kratom gum.
I didn't even know that.
Kratom extracts. So you can probably put it in food, I'm assuming.
Well, no, extracts. What an extract is, it's basically just a more concentrated form of it. So they just extract the main alkaloids.
Yeah.
And they usually put it into a capsule, or sometimes it's liquid. Mm-hmm. And then it's just pure concentrated, like I don't know exactly how to pronounce the name of the like the main alkaloid. It's like mitridrine.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that,
something like that. But that's basically what an extract is.
Yeah,
we're gonna a concentrated form of it. Kratom. Yeah.
Yeah. But now you learn something new. They have it in gum. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're commercially sold under the name of kratom. Okay. And so the other commercial names of products that contain kratom leaves. So products containing kratom leaves are known by different commercial names depending on the region that it's sold in. So any region in the world, or maybe in the United States. Okay. So several here. Herbal speedball.
What?
Never heard of that one?
No.
Okay. Like I said, it depends on the region. Okay. Like you said, this is sold in Asia, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, Thailand, also it may be different places. Herbal speedball is one. I don't know if there's a Biak or Biak. I think it's Biak. B-I-A-K.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Ketum, Ketum, K-E-T-U-M.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Kakuam, K-A-Q-U-A-M.
Okay.
I think this is Kratom or Kratom. Kratom. That's what it is. Kratom. K-R-A-T-H-O-M.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Kratom. That's the Asian, right?
Yeah.
The way they pronounce it. Thang, T-H-A-N-G, or Thong. I don't know, because they may pronounce it that wrong, but it's T-H-A-N-G, and then Tom, T-H-O-M.
Okay.
Okay, so those are like the other commercial names for kratom that they may have. So if you hear any of those terms or you research those, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. But in the United States, it is kratom. Okay. So what is kratom used for? Initially in Southeast Asia, kratom leaves were used in wound care, for fever, and to treat withdrawal symptoms, from opioids, as well as illegal drugs. And in the United States, kratom leaf products have been primarily used for acute and chronic pain relief, as well as mental health disorders like depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. So if people were feeling, if they didn't want to take like a prescription medication and they were maybe looking for something more holistic,
yeah,
they may have turned to kratom.
Yes.
Okay. But if there weren't a lot of research done on kratom and maybe side effects and things like that, because it's not FDA regulated, they're not going to put it through a lot of clinical trials.
No.
Okay. So people may be using it because they don't want to go through prescription medication, but are unaware of side effects that could be happening.
Yeah. There hasn't been very much, there hasn't been very many trials or anything.
No.
I don't know if there's been any human trials done on it. So.
No. Because usually if anything has to go through the FDA, they have to do clinical trials on.
Well, I think it's because the FDA they won't allow certain trials to be done. I mean, they did the same thing with marijuana for years they didn't allow any clinical trials to happen.
Yeah.
But that was for a reason. That was because it was illegal federally, I guess, and it was a scheduled substance, which kratom isn't. So I'm not sure why they wouldn't
No.
conduct clinical trials on it.
Yeah. Okay. And that could be because, and we'll get into it, maybe because it's playing on the same opioid receptors
Mm-hmm.
in the brain, and then does it have more negative effects than positive? Maybe. So, but I don't know. It's up to, I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't do it.
I'm not
So
sure why.
so we'll go through it. Okay. So, but it has been used for mental health disorders like depression and anxiety, and chronic pain relief. So if somebody has chronic pain, because it relaxes the body, it relaxes muscles and things like that, and puts people kind of in a sedative state.
Yeah.
People would use it for chronic pain relief,
Mm-hmm.
and also to help them with anxiety.
Yeah.
Okay. So, some consumers use kratom leaf products in the management of pain as an alternative to prescribed opioid medications like morphine or oxycodone,
Mm-hmm.
because people get addicted to oxycodone and morphine, fentanyl. They get addicted to those, so they don't. It's an alternative to that.
Yeah.
It's not as strong, not as habit forming, and probably not as difficult to stop taking.
Yeah.
The withdrawal symptoms are probably more manageable, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I think it depends. It depends on the person, but.
Well, yeah. But I think but like if people are taking prescription opioids, they're gonna. Everybody's gonna. You have some bad withdrawals off of opioids.
Yeah.
Bad. Diarrhea, nausea,
especially-
vomiting,
Yeah.
chills. People have some bad withdrawals.
Yeah, especially if you're taking really high doses all the time.
Yeah, but sometimes people don't have to be taking a high dose.
Well, even if you might feel some withdrawal symptoms, but I think the more you take, the worse it'll be.
Are you talking about kratom, or are you talking about opioids?
Opioids, all of them.
Yeah.
And that includes kratom too.
Yeah, like if you're taking a higher dose, if you're taking more kratom too,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to withdraw because it's still playing on opioid receptors in the brain.
Yeah.
Just like you're taking an opioid. So you're going to have some maybe similar withdrawals, but it's not going to be like you're taking something like oxy.
Yeah.
Or coming off of fentanyl or heroin, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is still playing on the same receptors in the brain, but it's not going to be that's why people would use it as an alternative.
Yeah.
To oxycodone or any other opioid medication.
Yeah, because it's not quite as bad.
It's not quite as bad, but it's still used as a pain reliever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, however, current scientific research does not provide enough information on the successful remedy and safety of kratom leaf products in the treatment of pain. So, like we were saying, there's not like enough clinical trial. They've never had clinical trials done.
Yeah.
To really decide if kratom is effective in managing it. Like, do the pros outweigh the cons of it? Just like any other medication, right? Some medications, even that are on the market that the FDA has approved, don't work for everybody.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's physiologically how your body is responding to it. Okay. So what are the main effects of kratom when it is consumed? So kratom consumption has a psychological opioid-like reaction, and opioid receptors in the brain are activated, causing sedation in lower doses and euphoria and pain relief in higher doses. So if you're taking a lot of kratom, you're going to feel euphoric, you're going to feel really good, you're going to feel basically high. And then you're not going to feel a lot of pain. So whatever that dose is, and then I think too, it depends on the strain of the kratom, because there's different strains of kratom as well.
Yes and no. Strains of kratom, it mostly depends on like the tree that it's coming from and how aged it is. There isn't actually technically strains of kratom. That's more of like a marketing thing.
Okay.
Different brands will sell like, green
Mm-hmm.
green kratom and red kratom and white.
Yes.
They're not actually different strains technically, but it really just refers to like the aging of the leaves, pretty
Okay.
much, you know. But it's
Okay.
not like a different thing. It's not like coming from a different kind of tree or anything like
Right.
that,
Right.
you know.
So are they adding other things to it then? Because if it's red or green, then is one more potent than the other? Because I read somewhere, whether it was in the National Institute of Drug Abuse, where it had mentioned something about that it was, I believe, the not the green, but it was the red that was more potent. It had compounds that were more potent than some of the other kratom powders.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually true.
No.
I don't think
That is the red that's not more potent, or
No, I don't think one is more potent than the other. I mean, again, it depends on the aging of the leaves you're getting.
yeah.
It depends on the potency, you know.
But they have to test that to make sure, because if people are researching it and they're getting different kinds, they can
Mhm.
test. This is where research on kratom has to be very, very important, because if people are consuming it, it's not FDA regulated,
Mhm.
and people are buying it and consuming it, and the DEA is saying, no, it's not like a Schedule 1, 2, or 3 substance, and all of that, but it's still something that we're concerned about.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's not banned. Like, there's some countries where it's banned. They cannot sell kratom,
Yeah.
but it's not here in the United States. You can go into any smoke shop and purchase it, but the DEA has put out, like, yes, this is a substance that there is a concern over it, but they
Mhm.
have not put it on the schedule list, like
No.
it being a controlled substance.
No.
But um, if they say that one is more potent than the other, it makes you question: are there other chemicals being put into it, or
Mhm.
something else being altered in it?
Yeah.
Because it did mention that it is still a mind altering substance. It is,
Of
because
course.
but it's, you have to wonder if one thing, whether it's the age of the leaves or something, it's still being manufactured into a powder.
Yeah.
So there's something that else is being put into it to make one stronger than the other.
I don't think that's not like true across the board. Like I'm sure there are some brands out there
Mm-hmm.
that people are putting extra stuff in it.
Right.
But that's not, at that point, that's not just kratom. That's something else. But generally, like if you're getting like real, if you got it straight from the source, it wouldn't have anything extra in it.
Yeah.
You know, it really depends on the company or whatever that's making it.
But how do
You
you
know.
know what country? But how do you know what company is giving you the real something that's not cut with something, as they
Well,
say?
yeah, that's the thing. That's where
know.
if you're gonna use it, that's where you have to do your research. You know, there are some brands out there that are more reputable than
Yeah.
others. You know.
Okay.
And
So,
there's some where they're putting stuff in it and people know that there's something else in it.
yeah.
You know, they're buying it because it has something else in it, you know.
Yeah. So what? So why is there not a list of companies that say, "Hey, this is a reputable company. This is where you should buy your kratom"?
There definitely is. If you do your research, there are definitely.
But is that kratom still, even if that's a reputable company, is that still? Can you? And it does. Let's say it doesn't have all of the other compounds in it and other things in it that are not compounds, but maybe all of the extra stuff that's not supposed to be in it. The substance is still addictive.
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, but
it's
that's a
just
different
not.
thing.
But it's
yeah.
just not going to have all of the other things that it should not have.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so it is kind of like an opioid like reaction. It can cause this euphoria. It's just going to kind of give you the sedative, it's going to put you like in a sedative, I guess that's a word, kind of state.
Sedated, do you mean?
Yeah, it's like in a sedated state of mind if you're taking it in lower doses.
That's actually I don't know. That's not necessarily really true either.
Mm-hmm.
Like most people, and usually in lower, there's a lot of people that take low doses of kratom and go to the gym
Mm-hmm.
because it can give you energy too.
It does, yes, and it does say that. It says users of kratom reported the following side effects: an increase in energy, focus, and alertness. Okay, a decrease in depressed mood and anxiety, a decrease in symptoms related to post-traumatic stress disorder, and a decrease in pain. So it does talk about those things.
Yeah,
It
but
does say that, but everybody's body is different. So
yeah,
it affects people differently. And I think that it's the same thing with like any other substance. There are people who can drink alcohol and they can drink a lot of alcohol. And when they stop drinking, some people will go into seizures
mm-hmm.
as a result of alcohol withdrawal. And there are people who will, have the tremors and the shakes real bad because of alcohol withdrawal. And then there are some people who will stop drinking alcohol and they have been drinking a lot for a very long time, for years, and they won't have withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah,
So I think they may have a little bit of anxiety or maybe have some irritability, but they don't have to go through like a medical detox or anything like that. So I think it is about it. People's body is different physiologically. Their body processes and metabolizes alcohol differently. You're right. It does. So for one person with kratom, they may be really alert. For somebody else, it may mellow them out.
yeah,
It's just different.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I still would say generally a higher dose is gonna make you more sedated, and I feel I mean that's the same with all opiates across the board. You know, a 5 milligram oxycodone isn't gonna put you out for most people, whereas like if you take like 80 milligrams, more than likely that's gonna knock you out, and that's just the same with all opiates. You know.
Yeah, but is it based? It could be based on somebody's body
Well,
and
yeah,
what's going
that
on,
always
or is
that
it
always plays a
based,
factor.
on tolerance? How long somebody's been
Yeah,
using it?
yeah,
If somebody's has not used kratom, they're just beginning to use it. Maybe you know they are maybe more mellow in the beginning, or
mhm,
maybe they have more energy in the beginning and it changes.
yeah,
I think there can be stages because your body gets used to a certain tolerance. You hit a plateau at a certain point. It's the same thing when you go back to any other substance. There comes a point whenever people, when they're using drugs, when they're using like cocaine or meth or something like that, they get to a point where they hit a plateau
yeah,
that's flat and they can't get high anymore
hmm
and they can't feel the substance anymore.
yeah.
So
So they
they
have
have
to
to
take
use
more.
more, but even if they're using more, they still can't. They're just using it at the same level to feel normal.
Hmm
So they've reached a homeostasis. That's what they call it.
Yeah,
And so I'm just using to feel normal, because if I use less, I feel irritable. I feel like I'm going into withdrawal or something's just off.
hmm
So I have to just keep it at this level.
yeah,
But they don't feel anything. It's not like when they were first using it.
hmm
So that's what like addiction is.
yeah,
When you've hit that peak, you can't get high anymore. You
hmm
can't feel it.
yeah.
Right?
You're just doing it just to feel normal.
Well, and it's a part of your routine.
Yeah,
That's what it is, right? So, it can depend, okay, on people's bodies and how long, and a lot of different factors can go into that. So what are the compounds? And this is what you were talking about, which has got the weird word that probably neither one of us can
yeah. I don't
can
know how to pronounce it.
can't pronounce it. So it says, what are the compounds in kratom causing the opioid-like effects? Research shows that there is not one specific compound found in kratom leaves, but a combination of compounds that naturally occur. So examples of compounds knowing to cause psychological opioid-like responses: mitra, mitragynine. I'm not sure how to.
Mitrogen, John. I don't know.
Yeah, it's mitragynyne.
Hmm
And then
Seven
seven.
hydroxy.
Yeah, 7
Mitrogen.
7-hydroxymetrogene.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call it. And then I'm trying to spell out the word.
Speciosa.
Ciliantine. I cannot pronounce that word. I'm sure but you know what word I'm talking about. And people on here, you can research all of this as well. But those are like the 3 compounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so why are we talking about kratom, right? So that's just like the background. So why is it a concern? It's a concern because its opioid-like features can lead to abuse and addiction, which can cause negative health effects on the body. And so the use of kratom products may also interact with approved prescription and over-the-counter medications, which can lead to more health problems. So if people are already taking prescription medications and then you add in kratom, it can counteract those medications you're taking. It could cause some other health issues. It could affect your liver. It could affect any other organs. You just don't know. Mm-hmm. They don't know because there hasn't been any clinical trials. It's not FDA approved for whatever reason. So we don't really know the long-term effects, right? We know some, but not. I think sometimes they're speculating, but they have kind of, that could be self-reported, things like that.
Yeah, most of it's anecdotal, most of the information.
Because they don't know because of they haven't done clinical trials.
Well, not on humans, at least.
Not on humans, right. Not on humans. So, yeah, I want to clarify that. There's been no human clinical trials done with kratom.
No.
So between January 2011 and December 2017, the National Poison Control Center documented approximately a little over 1,800 calls related to kratom exposure. Post-mortem toxicology results from 32 states and the District of Columbia between 2016 and 2017 showed that out of over 27,000 drug overdose cases, 152 cases showed traces of compounds found in kratom. In 91 of those 152 deaths, the consumption of kratom was reported as the cause of death by a medical coroner. Roughly 80% of those deaths were also linked to substances such as fentanyl, heroin, benzodiazepines, prescription opioids, and cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's the thing with that is most of those people, like you just read at the end, all those other drugs, most of those people were on other drugs already. You know, I don't know that there has been, there may have been, I don't know that there has been solely a kratom death overdose. I think most of those people were on some, other substances and mixing substances.
It says in 91 of those 152 deaths, the consumption of kratom was reported as the cause of death by a medical coroner. So 91 out of 152 where kratom was the cause of death.
Yeah. Okay. So that could be the case. They may have been on other drugs, and then once they took the kratom, which causes what's it called, respiratory, it causes a small amount of respiratory depression.
Sure.
But if you already have opiates in your system, and then you're just adding another one, that could cause some type of cause an overdose.
Of course it can. Of course it can.
So I think that's why they're saying it's the cause, even though they had other drugs in it. That may have been the last drug they took that sent them over the edge, and their body couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, it absolutely could have been, because I don't think there's been anything where people have just died from kratom use.
Solely kratom.
Not from solely. I think there may have been one that was on the news. Remember, I think it was like years ago.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that did die from like a kratom overdose or something, but he was taking a lot of the capsules.
Yeah.
But but I haven't heard of any since that. So yeah, I mean, if people do have, but like I said, this could be from prescription opiates. This can be from fentanyl, heroin, benzos. People do prescribe benzodiazepines legally. There's prescription benzos you can take from people who have anxiety, So you have to be careful. That's the thing, because sometimes you do need prescription medications for mental health disorders.
Yeah.
And if people are still taking Kratom, you need to be aware of this. And a lot of people are not.
Yeah.
Because they're thinking it's sold over the counter. I can go into any smoke shop and get it or whatever. And so if it's sold here, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm saying you have to be. I'm saying if you're taking a prescription drug, like this is saying,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be careful with it because
That's why people should, any medicine they're taking, no matter what
be
it
careful.
is, you should research what else it interacts with.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. So yeah, just be careful and do your research on that. Yes. But I think that's important to understand that it can play a role if you are using other substances.
Yeah.
So how does Kratom consumption impact human health? Low to moderate amounts of Kratom tend to be stimulating and do not produce the same strong effects associated with opioids. And consuming high amounts of Kratom can lead to tolerance and addictive behaviors, but there's no specific study available that helps us understand the effects of Kratom on the general population. But it does say children, pregnant women, and other populations are most likely to be at a greater risk of adverse health effects. So they have very limited research that's available about the kind of like the acute effects, but they do have some. Okay. So some of the acute health effects they say are anxiety, loss of appetite, nausea and vomiting, irritability, dry mouth, seizures, itching, constipation, hallucinations and delusions, sweating, confusion, and increased urination. Those are the acute and chronic health effects. Those are the acute health effects that people can have from Kratom consumption. The chronic health effects can be anorexia, rapid heartbeat, weight loss, liver damage, insomnia, seizures, skin darkening, and overdose. So people can overdose on it.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
They can. And the thing with overdose though is like you could be taking the same amount you've been taking. That's why it's an overdose. People don't intentionally overdose.
No. Well, some do, but
if maybe they're suicidal.
Yeah.
And they just have given up. But I think for the most part, most overdoses are not intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's addiction.
Yeah.
You know. So but it can happen. So
an overdose doesn't necessarily mean death, by the way.
It doesn't. No. It doesn't mean death, but it means hospitalization.
Yeah, it could. Yeah.
No, not could. It does.
Well,
if you overdose, you're going to be in the hospital.
That's not always true.
I mean, you need if somebody finds you have overdosed. Somebody finds you. I mean, you need to be in a medical facility to get looked over because
if you take too much of a substance like that, and you start feeling like something's wrong,
you need to go.
You've probably overdosed.
Yeah. There's something. Yeah, because even if you have somebody sitting up there watching, I mean, you need to get some medical attention. I would recommend if anybody's come across anybody like that they go get some medical attention.
Mm-hmm.
You can. So what are the withdrawal symptoms of excessive Kratom consumption? This is abuse and addiction. And abuse and addiction are two different things, but that's for another podcast that I'll do. So withdrawal symptoms may occur when consumption of Kratom is interrupted and include muscle aches, aggression, emotional changes such as mood swings. Okay, so aggression can mean a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody's moods and their changes, there's emotional changes like mood swings.
Yeah.
Okay. Can a person overdose and potentially die from Kratom use? What do you think? They have an answer on here, but what do you think?
I think you can on anything. Just like there's an amount of marijuana that you can overdose on.
Yeah.
But it's so impossible that you know what I'm saying? Like you would have to take an an impossible amount to
Yes.
kill yourself with it.
Yeah. And it's in combination with other things too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it says, alcohol, over-the-counter medications, they have all contributed to the overdose, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how long do the compounds remain in the body? How long do the compounds found in kratom remain in the body? So although there's limited scientific data related to the consumption of kratom use, it is believed that the half-life of the substance is roughly 24 hours. So people will use it every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's the same thing with people who smoke cigarettes or whatever, or drink coffee. And then, is there a test that tells me if the compounds found in kratom are in my body? So this is one of the reasons, like, we do not, this is one of the reasons why we do not, we don't do any drug testing, like, in our field for kratom right now. There's not really a test that can read it.
Yeah.
So the only way, I think I read this on the National Institute of Drug Abuse website, is that they may do like hair follicle.
Yeah,
That's,
I think that's
going to be the only way that you're going to be able to test if the compounds that are in kratom are in your system.
Yeah, hair follicle test. It tells you every substance that you've taken for like the last 90 days.
Yeah, I think urine. I don't know so much about urine, but blood and hair follicle are going to be the only two ways to test if you are. But don't think for one moment that if an employer or something like that, if you're off, if they don't think so, that they won't do a hair follicle, because some places will.
Yeah.
They will do it. Okay. So is kratom consumption medically regulated? No. They're not medically regulated at this time. They have not been approved for any medical use.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's not commercially regulated. So it says the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued a warning to consumers of such products as there have been concerns with increased risk of abuse, addiction, and dependence. So the U.S. Drug Enforcement, or the DEA, includes commercial kratom products on this list of drugs and chemicals of concern. That's what it's on.
Yeah.
So it's not a controlled substance, but it's on the drugs and chemicals of concern list. So, So the reason that's why the FDA has not done any, that's why they haven't approved it or test or anything, because it has an increased risk of abuse, dependence, and addiction, and so they're not going to.
Really, that's all the more reason to do trials on it.
You think so?
Of course. Why?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that it's I mean, if a substance I can see your point there. I understand what you're saying, because like they've approved oxycodone, they've approved.
Yeah, the thing with that is they knew exactly what that was going to do.
Well, of course.
They knew for sure that people were going to get hooked on that, and they still sold it,
Yeah, they did. But and it's just probably like we don't want to, is it just we don't need to have another one of these substances on the list that is showing that people are addicted to it.
Yeah, but
they don't want to have it.
It's already available anyway.
It is.
People are gonna use it no matter if it's prescribed by a doctor or not.
No, but it's just my question is like there's I'm kind of just like I don't know. It baffles me how to sell something like that people 18 and over can buy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess it's just like cigarettes and alcohol, but it's just I just people know what they're getting. I hope that there's a warning label. I don't know if there's a warning. I don't think there's a warning label, because it's not unless people research.
Well, no, I think
what kratom is. They don't know.
I think it depends on the brand that you're buying from. There's warning labels on them, on some of them for sure.
Yeah. What does the warning label say?
I don't know. I don't read it. But,
That's a problem. So even if it has a warning label, people aren't reading it, then they're just ingesting something and they don't know really what it is and what you're getting. So people can research things, it's up to those companies to be truthful, and they're not going to be completely truthful because they need to make money. It's just every company that's selling a product is not going to be completely truthful because they need to make money. That they're just not.
Yeah, I don't think that's true in all cases, but definitely in some for sure.
Yeah.
They're just trying to sell a product. They don't want anything to hinder that.
Of course. Well, it's greed at the end of the day, but it's also about people's lives. And I think the more that people can be educated about what this is and where it comes from and how you can, because a lot of people are like, if it's sold, I'm not going to be addicted to it, but you can become addicted to anything.
Of course.
And people can begin using that and not go into it thinking they're going to be addicted or get addicted to it, and kind of go into it with the false sense that they can stop. And before you know it, you try to stop and then you start experiencing withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah.
And some people don't. You have to be aware of what the withdrawal symptoms are. And it's easy to get hooked on that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's hard to get off of it. Some people are like, I can stop whenever, but it's hard once you start feeling it. Anything that gives you an opioid-like effect, you're gonna have similar opioid withdrawals, and people don't like that feeling. That's a terrible withdrawal to go through. Anything that is related to opioids or gives you that effect.
Yeah.
You may not have the same withdrawals as people who come off of heroin or oxys or anything, but you're gonna go through some discomfort.
For sure.
Physically and emotionally.
For sure.
Yeah.
But again, that's why people who are coming off of opiates use it, because
I'm talking about coming off of the Kratom.
I know, I'm saying, but it is, technically an opiate, I guess, but I'm just saying, like, people use it when they're coming off of heroin, or you could kind of relate it to like methadone or Suboxone, but people feel like, again, that's more natural, I guess.
Well, yeah,
do you think I was thinking about this earlier. Do you think that should maybe be an alternative, like medically, instead of like methadone or Suboxone? Like if people are going to like a drug treatment center, instead of prescribing methadone or Suboxone, they could prescribe Kratom.
No, and I'll tell you why, really quick. I'd say no, just because it's come to my attention that I have heard where people have mentioned that became a second addiction to them.
Yeah, but it's the same with people get addicted to methadone and Suboxone also.
Yeah, they can, but they are being medically monitored on that, and they are being their medication is being accounted for, and it's regulated by the government, and it's not.
Yeah, you can't go into a store and buy methadone.
No, you can't. It's federally regulated by the DEA and the government, so you can't. Like there's very strict regulations on that medication, and it's done that way specifically to help people not abuse it. It doesn't mean that people aren't going to try because they have, and it doesn't mean that people can't get addicted to it. I think I don't know if people get so much addicted to the substance of it. I think people get addicted psychologically to like breaking away from it because they've always been dependent. I don't know if it is addiction unless it's just more dependence.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, there's a difference between those two, which I'll also do in a video as well, because there's a difference between addiction and dependence on something. There's a difference.
Yeah, I could see how that would. Yeah, I'm not. The only way they would be able to do that is if they really like regulated it and they stopped selling it in stores,
Yes.
which people wouldn't like that. But I think that would be the only way to do it. Because if they're just like giving you like a small amount of kratom or whatever at the addiction center, and you're like, oh, I want more, I need more, then you could just go buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No. But no, Suboxone and methadone is federally regulated. Yeah. I know. I did a DEA audit. That was not fun. When I worked in the methadone clinic. So yeah, they are on top of that stuff.
But you wouldn't recommend that at all to like maybe not one of your patients, but you wouldn't recommend that anyone trying to get off opiates would try it.
No, just because I'm not. No, because I don't. There's not enough. There's not enough research. There's really not. No.
Yeah. Well, people also use it to get off alcohol as well.
Yeah, it's been used for a lot of different things, but I think it's just, it kind of reminds me of self-medication. Like when people use alcohol and drugs to self-medicate things. That's what it reminds me of. And it's being monitored by someone when people are you're trying to work on your own problems, which is, I get it if people are trying to change themselves. I get that. But when you're trying to get off your own addiction and you're trying to self-medicate with something else that's got addictive properties to it, it's not going to help. It's not going to work. Especially if it's something that doesn't have a lot of research behind it.
Yeah.
And that's backed up by scientific research, not just by what somebody's saying, but actual scientific research. Then I would maybe trust it more, but we don't have that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, I think there definitely should be more research on it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that a lot of people that use kratom, a lot of them would probably be opposed to any more research because they're afraid that, maybe they'll find something that's something that won't allow it to be sold anymore.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why it's kind of the same with like marijuana too. Like people don't want to acknowledge that there are negative side effects to these things.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they don't want it taken away from them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They don't. But there's ways that we can improve our health and our mental health and get off. There's things that you can do, but people have to find a reason why I have to use something. And it's just, there's negatives to marijuana. Like I just there's a lot of states that have, that's another whole topic as well. The legalization of marijuana. But I mean, there's a lot of states that legalized it, not only medicinally, but also recreationally. So that did not pass here in Florida.
Boo.
But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of how it is. So that's my spiel for today on the educational segment of this podcast. And I hope you all learned a lot more about that because I think it's a very interesting topic. And I love to talk about addiction and recovery. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm a dork.
Yeah. I think that was very informative.
Yes, but I wanted to kind of get that out there. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do your research if you're going to use anything. Just at least do your research first and weigh whether or not it's worth it to you to use it.
Yeah.
Whatever the substance is.
I agree. I agree. And thank you for listening to that. So, what are we doing so we have a second part of our segment where Tristan's going to give us some pop culture news.
Well, I know I just I'm sure you've seen it that Jay-Z was recently accused of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
In the year of 2000 with Puff Daddy Combs at an after party. I think it was after the VMAs or something.
Yeah.
But some breaking news from yesterday, I think it was, that the one that accused him, the lady admitted that there were inconsistencies in her story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you didn't see that?
No.
Yeah, she admitted that there were inconsistencies in her story.
Oh, wow.
She admitted because, like, she said in the story, like she went to the party and some stuff happened and she like fought them off somehow, and then she like ran to a gas station and called her dad to pick her up, and then he just picked her up. But apparently, her dad says that she doesn't remember, or that he doesn't remember any of that. So,
Do you believe her? Do you believe her talking about the inconsistencies?
what do you mean? Do I
Like, do you believe that her, like, do you believe that she wasn't paid off to say that?
paid to say that there were
Yeah.
inconsistencies?
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Jay
Easy
Z
to do that.
to yeah. It's definitely possible, but I mean, we don't know the full truth
Yeah,
about
that's
that.
true.
But
That's true.
and the thing is, like, I mean, it was 24 years ago. It's such a long time ago. Like, there's no, I don't, I feel like there's no way to prove something like that unless you had like hard evidence. Like, it's because a lot of like sexual assault cases, most of them, I think it's like 10% of them or whatever even go to court, or like people are
Mm-hmm.
prosecuted or whatever. So it's like, I think that's why a lot of women or whoever do go the civil route,
Yeah.
because it's just easier that way. It's a lot more difficult to put someone in jail for it, especially an event that was almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I don't. All I can say is they're crazy.
who's crazy?
Just that whole world, the music industry, just it's crazy.
Do you think it's a money grab or not? Because a lot
I
that's
don't
the thing.
know,
That's the thing
because
that happens with every civil suit like
they
this.
just pay people off. I don't know. Because the one thing, like, if they drugged her, it's going to be a little fuzzy, after all this time. But on the other hand, if a woman, whether she's a teenage girl, young woman, older woman, you don't forget when you're sexually assaulted. That's not something women forget.
Yeah.
It's the same thing if a man is sexually raped or whatever. You don't forget.
No.
Those are situations you don't forget. You just don't. Even if you are drugged, you're gonna have glimpses of something. She's not completely blacked out.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So what inconsistencies you are gonna remember if somebody raped you?
Well, the inconsistency was her father picking her up from the gas station. Her father said that he doesn't remember doing that. So that was the inconsistency in the story.
But she didn't deny being raped.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No. So she was raped, but I mean,
Well,
so
maybe.
allegedly. I mean,
Well, what do you think of like? Oh, I mean, this has been happening.
so first it was Diddy, now it's Jay-Z. Who's it gonna be next?
But what do you think of
I
all
don't
these
know.
cases being brought up from like nearly 30 years ago? A lot of people say like, oh, like obviously it's a cash grab. Why didn't she do this 20 years ago? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if it's a cash grab. Is it to destroy his career? And everything he's built? Is it to, put another black man behind bars? I mean, is it, I mean, I don't know.
A lot of people have been saying that there's like an attack on hip hop.
Yeah, I mean,
all these people getting accused of things. I don't know. You mentioned something that maybe he paid her off to say the inconsistencies part, but the thing is, I feel like if that was the case, then he would have just paid the
right
and settled it.
Yeah, I don't think so, but I mean, I think that but then that's almost kind of like an admission of guilt.
You think so?
I mean,
Wait,
if
what's an admission of guilt?
like if he just would have paid her off,
like Diddy did with Cassie.
Cassie, yeah, like that's just an admission of guilt. That's how a lot of people would see it.
Mm-hmm.
because I'm just paying you to be quiet. Just go away.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you see the letter that he put out
No.
when it first happened? You didn't see it?
No.
Oh my god, I have to read it to you. Because this is cuz like he's fighting this, like he didn't he didn't just pay the money. I think he tried to sue the lawyer that that brought the case up. And let me see if I can find this. Here we go. Okay. Okay. My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case. The lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. I have no idea how you've come to be such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby, but I promise you I've seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You can claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor, and you have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims, and explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand explicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes out to the true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the projects of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, fake physics, will believe the idiotic claims you have levied against me that, if not for the seriousness surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. I look forward to showing you just how different I am.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's the statement that he put out
Mm.
at first.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Does that change your opinion about anything? Because a lot of people see that as like, oh, well, he's clearly innocent. He's trying to whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if he did it. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
People are good at faking it. He could be innocent and could be guilty. I don't know anymore. I really don't. I mean, I really don't.
Do you think
I don't know.
if it does turn out to be like totally false, do you think there should be repercussions for the accuser?
Yeah, because I mean, I think that you cannot, especially of rape, like you cannot, like that ruins people's reputations and how they, people do see them, and that could ruin somebody's life. Like you could send them to prison for life for that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
for
not, that's not like you're seriously messing with somebody's life.
Yeah.
It's not, you cannot just throw that word around and
No.
pin that on anybody. You can't,
Yeah.
and yeah, you just can't do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. Even if you're innocent, that still stays with you
Oh yeah.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So I mean, the fact that he's going to fight it, good for him. Yeah. But I mean, a lot of rich people who claim not to have done anything are guilty as I don't know what, and then there are innocent ones. So I'm not saying he's guilty. or anything. So fight it and prove it in court. But I think he's right. Like, if this is what I really did, then bring it not a civil but a criminal trial.
Yeah, but
and have proof.
But that's the thing.
They can't have if there's no proof.
But yeah, that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people go the civil route, because it's a lot harder
Yep.
to prove it, and so that could be a point towards him. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I'm just saying he probably knows, I'm sure, and I'm sure his lawyer knows that it's a lot harder to prove that if it's a criminal case.
So they just settle out of court.
Well, I mean, that's what
I'm saying. If it's a money grab from her or whatever,
yeah,
then you just settle out of court, because you can't prove. She won't have a case in criminal court.
Yeah. But, even if she's innocent, she might not have a case. Or if he's guilty, she might not have a case.
Yeah.
It was such a long time ago, like, I'm sure there wasn't, like, a rape kit done or anything.
Mm-mm.
Like, that's why it's so hard to prove.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm. Yeah, and if you're raped, you always, but that's the thing, like, people are in shock. And if you're young, you're not going to think to go,
yeah, she was 13.
You're not going to think, oh my gosh, I need to go get a rape kit done. You're not thinking anything like that. And then if she was allegedly drugged or under the influence of anything, you're not in your right mind to go do that. You're not thinking clearly to go get anything done. So, yeah, there's not any evidence of that.
Yeah. And then you maybe, I'm sure a lot of victims don't go to the to law enforcement or whatever, especially if it's someone like that who's super rich and famous,
celebrities,
and powerful. Like, you might be afraid for your life.
To go. Yeah, very true.
I mean, that was the whole reason they denied Diddy's bail, because he was apparently threatening witnesses.
Yes. Yeah, and he has the power to do that. Even from jail, they can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
They have reach and they know people. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That world is just sick. I don't even know. And it's like, and the music industry just seems to be worse than, like, the movies. I don't know. It's just weird. It is a weird place to be.
It is. It is.
And I just don't understand it. I'm not saying every person who is a celebrity is like that, but gosh, man,
just like every Catholic priest isn't a pedophile, but a lot of them are.
A lot of them are.
They hide them in the Vatican.
Yes. You're so wrong. Yes, not saying that is true. You're right. Yeah, but just saying, like, man, it's not like every celebrity is terrible, but my gosh, there's
a lot of them.
That is an evil. It's not worth it, I don't think, to be that famous. That's a level of fame I don't think I would ever want.
Yeah, me neither.
Like Beyonce's fame and Jay-Z's fame, and that's like crazy fame. That's like fame that, I don't know, I would never want that level of fame.
Yeah, I wouldn't
either. The expectations are way too high, and you're constantly always on. And people have such a high expectation. It's crazy. It would drive me nuts. I feel like I couldn't be a real person.
You're not. Yeah,
you would lose who you truly are.
Yeah, you wear a mask all the time.
All the time. You can never be. You
got to smile for the cameras.
Yeah, and you can see it sometimes when I look, because every time I see a celebrity on the red carpet, I look at their eyes. Everybody's like, "Oh, who are you wearing? Who are you wearing?" Whenever they look at, whenever they are on there, I'm always looking at their eyes. Because a lot of times when you look at celebrities, not just the women, but the men too.
Yeah.
Like, people look sad. They have, like, if you really look, sometimes there's a sadness, not with all of them, but there's certain ones where there's just like a sadness or loneliness in their eyes.
I'm sure
it's really sad to see that.
Yeah.
Because you have everything. Sad, and you look like you're not very happy.
Well, I think a lot of them are unhappy. A lot of people think that, being rich and famous will just cure all your problems, but it just doesn't. You know, it makes your life. I mean, but being rich is one thing, but being rich and famous, like super famous, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
You know, because you're always in the public eye. Like, you know, maybe you have a comfortable life, at home, but still, then you got to worry about public scrutiny, and you might
Stress.
not have a lot of friends.
Oh, you don't have any genuine
And
friends.
you don't have anybody to talk to that's going through the same things that you are, even though they're out there, but they're all fake too. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, unless you have just like friends from childhood that you
Well, yeah, but there's that.
knew, but
But I mean, like having somebody that knows,
you.
and no, not just you, but knows like the things that you're going through because they're going through the same things.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, yeah. I always look at their eyes when they're smiling in the camera. It's like it's just this fake smile, like I just have to smile for the camera. But
Yeah.
their eyes, the person's eyes tell the story of what's really going on.
I think it was like a day or it might have been like the next night after that came out about Jay-Z. Him and Beyonce and Blue Ivy went to the opening of
Yes, the
of
Lion King.
Mufasa.
It was like the
Yeah.
next day. I was like, how
Yeah.
uncomfortable for that 12-year-old girl.
I know, it's crazy. And people were making jokes like, oh, of course he'd go to an opening of a children's movie, right after.
Well, it's all PR. It's our
Yeah.
it's public relations. They
Yeah.
have to kind of like put on a united front in the face of that. Which, if I was their public relations person, I would tell them, yeah, you all need to go, even
you
if
gotta
y'all
look,
don't
you have
like.
to look unbothered.
Yeah, even if y'all are not happy,
Yeah.
put on your brave face and get out there with your daughter and support
Yeah.
her. But yeah, I mean, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Even though people are talking, you get out there and you do it. And then that in itself, and people know it's a PR stunt. And so it doesn't come off as genuine.
Right. Yeah.
So you're still not really fooling anybody. It's
No.
just, I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah. That must have been so uncomfortable though.
I felt sorry for Blue Ivy.
Yeah.
I really did. I felt sorry for her.
And people were mad about that too. People were mad at Beyonce and Jay-Z because of the dress that Blue Ivy was wearing, and they
Yeah.
were saying like, "Oh, they're trying to sexualize her and blah blah blah." Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that they were trying to sexualize her?
I don't. I mean,
She's 12 years old. She looked a lot older than 12. She's only 12. She won't be 13.
she's only
till, like-
12.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's 12.
I mean,
She looked like she was like 15.
yeah, I'll say she definitely looked. Didn't look her age. I'll say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, she looked 12. She looked older than 12.
Yeah.
And whether she decided that she wanted to wear that dress, because some 12-year-olds want to look like mom.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah, exactly. And your mom is
know,
Beyonce.
Your mom is Beyonce.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
if my mom was Beyonce and I was 12 years old,
Yeah,
I would
that's
want to
your-
I would want to look like my mom.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
Of course, you would want to look like your megastar mother.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you would want to be beautiful and have a nice gown and be, and yeah, I mean, I could see that. So I don't think that I won't say like they sexualized her. I don't think that
Yeah, I don't think that's
forced.
the
I don't
case.
think that they forced her to do that. I think she's a 12-year-old girl who wanted to wear a really pretty dress.
Yeah, I think
That's
so.
what I think. When I was 12, I wanted to wear pretty stuff too
Mhm.
and wear makeup.
Yeah.
I don't think that. And you're famous.
Yeah.
This girl has been in the spotlight since she's been born.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, so I don't think that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
I don't
but
think that they were trying to do that.
But
no.
people get really mad about it because people feel like that's like people feel like that's I don't know how to say it, but people just don't like seeing children like that, and especially in the entertainment industry. They feel like
Mhm.
it's sort of fueling that desire
Yeah.
that certain people have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, those are the sicko pedophile people.
Yeah.
And anybody who is not that way will not look at a 12-year-old girl like that.
Exactly.
I thought that her gown was beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought she looked very pretty. I was like, yep, that's a little mini Beyonce right there. But that's what I mean. But I get it. The sicko men pedophiles out there. Yes.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. I don't know if I can say that with this being on YouTube, but that's very true.
Yeah, it is.
But I don't know. Bottom line is, I just think sometimes people just idolize celebrities too much, and we don't know, us normal folks don't live in that reality.
Not at all.
I enjoy celebrities. I like them, but when you idolize them and just kind of pick apart their every move, they are human. And are just like us. They just are on television or sing and just, that's it, and have more money.
Yeah.
But they make mistakes just like all of us do.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with this case. I feel like more than
we'll follow
likely,
it.
I feel like more than likely I don't think he'll be found guilty of anything.
I don't either.
You know,
I don't think he will either.
it'll probably be thrown out, honestly.
Yeah.
And then they'll probably sue that lawyer, which he tried to do. He tried to sue the lawyer that was bringing the case against him. So
Yeah.
that'll probably happen.
Well, we'll follow it and we'll see what happens, because the news just is constant. I have not been watching the news very much lately.
Really?
Well, no. I'm on TikTok a lot, but I'm not like, I'm trying to stay away from it. And I'm trying to work on my own content right now.
Are you going to watch the inauguration?
I told you no.
Oh.
We had this conversation in our one of our other podcast episodes.
Oh. Well,
and
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to have it on full blast.
I'm not, you can have a full blast in your freaking ear pods. I'm not going to freaking listen to that. I am not watching the inauguration. No, thank you.
Okay.
I will probably be, that's on a Monday, right? That's on the 20th. It's on a Monday.
I don't know when it is.
I think it's on a Monday. So I'll probably be, wait a minute. No, I'll probably be, no, when is the 20th?
Be what?
No, that's, I don't know what day that's on. January 20th?
It's on a Monday.
Oh, yeah. I'm off work. I probably will be,
You're going to watch it. You're not going to be able to resist the urge.
I cannot. No. I cannot watch that. I absolutely refuse to. I will not do it. I will not do it.
I believe you.
No.
I believe you.
I'm actually will be recording, I'm sure, something for TikTok or our podcast or something. I'm not going to, no. I'm trying to focus on putting out more content for our podcast. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. So.
Well, we better wrap this up. My computer's about to die. So.
Yes. So we've been talking for a long time. So. I forgot to, I actually recorded the whole recording that had all of our platform, like where you could find our podcast. And then Tristan told me I recorded it on my phone and I can't use that. No. So I have to record it on here on my Mixcaster. Mm-hmm. So, okay. All right. So do you want to do the closeout then? Because I've been talking a lot.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Be sure to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, the Tay and Tristan Hour. You can go to our website. What is it?
TayandTristan.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also go to TATH Styles, which is our online shop. And you can just type in mytayandtristan.shop. Mm-hmm. We're also on Amazon Music and iHeartRadio, and we also have TikTok as well. And our TikTok page is the Tay and Tristan Hour, And we're also we have Facebook, which is also the Tay and Tristan Hour, and then we have Instagram page, which is Tay and Tristan _podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Check it out.
Yes, and I'm actually going to record the right way as like a commercial, and so you guys won't have to watch us do this every week. So this has been episode 36
of the Tay and Tristan Hour.
Tristan Hour. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Thank you to all of our subscribers. And like you said, comment, subscribe,
share,
and share our content. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yeah.
All right, you guys take care.
Bye bye.
Peace.